Hey, what's going on, fam? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a blessed Thanksgiving. Being thankful for all the blessings that you have. You know, we're more blessed than we know sometimes. I heard at church today, Pastor said, people are flooding in trying to get into the U.S. Um, because, in this United States of America, our poverty is much better than their prosperity. Boom, that just hit home. That's crazy to think about it like that, but it's so true. But anyways, that's not what I really wanted to talk about today. Just wanted to share a little bit about the fruits of the spirit. And I've been studying this book with my brothers about spiritual maturity, about emotional maturity, and it ties in to the fruits of the spirit. And in Matthew 7:16 through 20, it reads like this, New King James Version: "You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them." So, people are going to know you by your fruits, family. How you want to be seen, or how do you want to be known. Um, and, we may not always think so, but people can always tell um, what kind of tree we are by the fruit we're putting out there, and every once in a while, we think we can fake it, but you can only fake it for a limited time only. It's gonna come out. That cuss word is gonna slip out. That little fit of rage is gonna come out. That nasty, dirty look's gonna come out when somebody says something you don't like. So we should be putting in the work to bear good fruit. I looked up, what the word fruit meant in the Greek, and there's a word karpos, and that word karpos, one definition of it means as a result of something. In this case, the fruit of the spirit and good fruit is a result of being connected and in unity with the Holy Spirit and with God, right? So that's the reality of that. And you can always tell the difference between the fruit of the spirit and the opposite. And this is important here, and it's the key. Good fruit of the spirit, is not environmentally sensitive. Did you hear that? The fruit of the spirit is not environmentally sensitive. So that means if you're bearing good fruit, you're not going to be affected when somebody's, calling you names, or talking smack about you, or the stress at your job, or somebody looked at you sideways. You're not going to be environmentally sensitive. And it's one thing to have, love, joy, peace, and kindness when everything is going good. It's one thing to love your children, your family, your mom, your pops, your brothers, your sister, your best friends. And it's one thing to love your enemies. That's a whole nother thing. And the fruit of the spirit is going to respond in love and blessing and prayer. That's the bottom line. You got to ask yourself, how are you responding when you're disrespected? When somebody says something you don't like, are you showing good fruit? The word says they're going to know you by your fruit. So, how you want to be known? um, you know, in this, day and age, a lot of times, what we look at is the physical. We look at the outward appearance, and it's easy to see when somebody's physically fit and somebody's been putting in the work, right? You see a dude walk in the room and he's yoked and he's swole, and he's walking around can't even fit through the door. He's been putting in the work. He's been going to the gym. He's being disciplined, watching what he's eating. But then he's a hothead. So what does it benefit you to be physically fit, but exhibit bad fruit? I know for me, I'd rather be spiritually fit more than physically fit, because that's what we strive for, to become more like Christ and Christ minded. You know, ideally, we'd be both, right? We got to take care of our bodies in the temples too, but what I'm trying to get at is it takes work to to get to a place where you're bearing good fruit. It takes consistency, prayer life. You're getting into your word, fasting, all those things make a difference. And you can tell, like that definition said, it's a result of something. When you do those things, the result is going to be good fruit. And we look at a man of God or woman of God, that a pastor you look up to is like, man, that person is anointed. They usher in the Holy Spirit and healing and all these things. Well, I'll tell you right now, they didn't wake up like that. They've been putting in the work. When you just see them in the limelight, you see them for that moment, when they're giving their word, what have you. But they've been putting in the work sometimes for years, and being consistent about it. And that's something that I said to my, one of my brothers today is consistency is important, and that's something that has changed my walk with God. More recently, adding fasting and becoming consistent with fasting has really changed my life and my walk and my relationship with God. And we can't not put those things first. We're all busy, but God's got to be first. I heard it said this way: is I'm too busy today not to spend the first hours of my day with God. That's a whole different way of looking at it. Talk about being transformed by the renewing of your mind. That doesn't make no sense in the flesh, but the flesh is always going to war against the spirit. When the Bible talks about the fruits of the spirit, it also talks about, right before that, all the sinful, immoral things that we can get into. And the Bible also talks about how the flesh wars against the spirit. So it's always going to be resistance in your flesh, and you got to battle that resistance. And I'll tell you how you combat resistance. Consistent breaks resistant. That's the bottom line. Consistent will beat the resistance of your flesh. If you continue to get up and pray even when you don't want to, if you get up and get into your word even when you don't want to, or when you don't have quote unquote time, that's going to break the resistance of your flesh, and it's going to get you to the place where you need to be, where the evidence is going to show that you're putting in the work in your private prayer life and relationship with God. And that's the bottom line. If you want to be used of God, if you want to do great things for the gospel, if you want to bring hope to this world, if you want to be the man of God called to be in your home, the husband, the wife, the mom, the dad, the brother, whatever position you hold at work, as a leader, as a worker, if you want to be used of God and you want to be seen in a certain way, we don't do it for our glory, but you want to bear good fruit everywhere that you are, then just remember that your public persona, your public influence, and the power that you have in your public persona is only going to be as influential and as powerful as your private prayer life. It's only going to be as influential as your private time with God, as influential as how much time you spend in the word and with fasting and all those things that God asks us to do as you build your spirit man or your spirit woman up. So I just pray that you would get into it, be consistent, put God on your calendar, and become a good tree. You know what I mean? And maybe you just need a little more work, a little refining. We all do, but the more you do it, the more good fruit you're going to bear, and people are going to see it, and you're going to be known by your fruit, be known as good fruit and as ambassador of Christ. God bless you guys.